we've got people who've been with us for over 13 years. People come to this gym that we set up from our previous space and have never left.
What does the term business fundamentals mean to you?
Business fundamentals, what does the term business fundamentals mean to me?
What are your business fundamentals, essentially?
See, this is where I have a business partner, right? This is probably such a backwards way of answering this question. Business has lots of different things. You can talk about finance, you can talk about operations, you can talk about HR, you can talk about marketing and sales, you can talk about leadership, business owners, it starts with self, right? Your business operations start with self, because ultimately how I'm going to be operating and all the things that go on, there are systems that need to be in place. There needs to be clear boundaries. Communication is fucking huge. I think is one of the biggest fundamentals, but also having clear visions, having an ability to share a vision, internally market, I think is a really big thing that, actually, because if I've got a team, I want them to grow. I want them to be involved. I want them to be bought into that. Some of the business fundamentals are, you've got to be disciplined, to an extent. You can't you've got to have some structure. You've got to be clear in communications. You've got to have clear steps. However, you've also got to have the ability to move left, move right, and navigate through that. And yeah, you're going to be challenged. I say the reason I said about having a business partner, my business partner is my business partner, 10 years ex-Marine, right? So he was in the Marines for 10 years. We are chalk and cheese. You could call me front of house. You could call him back in, but he's phenomenal what he'd done. The reason I approached him about starting a business at the time is because he operated in a completely different way to me. And I have so much respect for him, right? Incredible operator. And the truth is, I'd be more creative, right? And I think there's different elements to business. So the fundamentals of business, you might say, are finances, knowing your numbers, having the ability to, your visionaries, having your operation manuals, that they could be classed as business fundamentals if you were to read a business book, right?
Yeah.
HR, understanding that. But then I still think it comes from yourself, because you can have all the quote unquote books and things of how this must run. This is the X, Y, Z. But then if you don't deliver it and communicate in the right direction, in the right way, and maybe lead by example as well, actually live through your core values and being aligned, the people will see that it's not necessarily legit.
One of the things you mentioned there was about just doing it, not to sound like a Nike ambassador, but actually a lot of people have the information in their head, and you ask them and you go, what should I do in this situation? And they can verbatim tell you exactly what the right process is, but then they're not doing it themselves. It's something I see a lot of in business owners and gym owners. Why is it hard to kind of make that transition from knowing to actually implementing an action?
Funny enough, something called the know and doing gap is what I talk about a lot.
Okay.
Right? So we've got something which we know what to do, and a lot of people know what to do, and then doing it is a completely different thing. So you can sit down and very often you can talk about action steps and go, right, I've got to get clear on what my action steps need to be. And the truth is, as you say, we're able to do it. It's the willingness on what we have to potentially sacrifice very often. And there's fear of trying and failing. And obviously they're external going, right, well, if I do this, and then obviously there's financial fears. People go, right, well, if I've got to do this, then I've got to invest into X, Y, and Z. They don't take the risk because it's safer, right? And obviously safety and security is what we're kind of self-programmed for, right? We know, right? If we know the outcome of things, then the fear of or going into doing something the unknown is, we are reluctant as humans to do that very often. So there's that taking action on what we know we should be doing, and we hold off. And then what happens is fear, doubt starts to creep in, right? And the more that we let it settle in, it becomes into our internal, right? The way we actually physically feel within our body. And our thoughts become our feelings, become our actions, our behaviors. So the more we think about it, the more it manifests ultimately within our mind, gets into the subconscious, and we start going, right, actually, no, and we start to put all the barriers up, and we find all the reasons why not to. So as much as we know we need to take that action, we don't, and we let it manifest into it, and then we start to create all the reasons as to why I shouldn't, and get into this protection mode and step back. And also, there's a lot of fear. So let's use myself as an example, right? I'll be very clear about our business. We set it up 13 years ago. We have got a business model now that is quote unquote successful, okay? Could we be more financially successful if we were to completely cut off what we do and go down let's talk small group personal training model. Now, 200 plus members, right, haven't come to us for that for however many years. And bear in mind, we've got a really good retention. That's not me blowing my own trumpet. We've got people who've been with us for over 13 years. People come to this gym that we set up from our previous space and have never left. I mean, for me, that's phenomenal, right? I'm really proud of that. To then go, right, we're going to completely change the product because we can make more money, right? Now, technically, you could turn around and go, well, you know what to do to become more, but does it align with that? You know, there's certain things. So you've got to, I think that for so many different reasons, you know, we got to get clear on making the decision. We've got to really understand why and get so fucking clear as to what that why is. And we've got to want it enough. We've got to really want it enough. We've got to be excited about it, about the outcome. Because if we're not really excited about it and we're comfortable, we stay stuck. Because why would we change it? It's not big enough to drive. And I see that with, let's go back to weight loss because it's the easiest one to sort of replace. You know, people lose the same 4 or 5 pounds, right? They set the same goal. The goal isn't exciting enough. And in fact, they've done it. So there's no growth there, right? And then the next level will be going, oh, I'm going to drop 10 pounds. And they go, right, and I know I can do it. I've got the exact systems on how to do it. But it doesn't really excite me. I can kind of do it. I've got the systems, whatever. When they set something that's so punching, like, I'm going to do this because it's going to transform X, Y, and Z in my life, the real reason, the impact, the deeper reason, and the same with business. If I stay in the position that I am with the gym that we are, doing the things that we are doing, is it going to create the outcome that I truly desire for my family, for my kids, for my life, for my bigger purpose? You have to weigh that up. And at that point, you've got to make the decision. Once you've made the decision, you have to go fully in and then you have to take action on it. If you sit on it too long, you'll create all the reasons as to why. And then the whole terror barrier comes up. You know you need to do it, but you can't do it. And then you got to blast through it. You got to go through that.
I saw on your website that there was a whole thing about like self-perception and mentality. And like, if you kind of have the perception of like, I'm not very happy with my gym and or business and X, Y, Z, like that you're going to bleed that into the business and the work that you do. Like, how do you kind of, is that something that's easy to realize, like in terms of your mentality, and how do you kind of assess that in yourself?
Well, I think if we go back to what we touched on before about the results that you're getting, right? If you look at all the results you are getting, that is coming from you, right? So whatever is going on in the internal gets reflected on the external. So I think this is answering the question, but if I go, right, the results that I'm getting and the external environment isn't what I want it to be, that is coming from an internal, potentially, narrative. So how do you know that it's happening? Well, you're not getting the results you want. If you're not getting the results in the external, you can go, well, that's probably because of something that's going on internally, because whatever's going on internally, if I'm absolutely buzzing, passionate, everything's going on, boom, guess what? Whatever's going on around me, I'm making happen because I'm looking for the opportunities. I'm seeing them. I'm walking into things with the opportunity. If I come into a place with a positive opportunity, I come in here, I go, right, this opportunity here, there's conversations to be had, there's all these great things, and I'm open-minded, I'm willing to learn, I want a success in my business. I go, right, we can do this, we can have that. Yeah, you've got to step back at that point and go, I can't do everything, right?
Yeah.
However, if I'm not getting the results, my clients aren't getting the results, my gym isn't operating in a way that I'm happy with, then it's going to come from me, right? So how do I know? Well, your external results will tell you.
When everything's going really well, and let's say your attitude's amazing and everything like that, what are the things that can kind of break that and bring that to a halt?
If you are potentially affected by external circumstances, comments, and let other things happen, that can switch your mood. And this 100% has happened to me a lot, where especially there are people and clients that are, I've got a really close relationship, because you do build relationships, right? In business, with staffing, if somebody says something that challenges you, and the reality is, if I'm really honest, it usually only affects you when it's true, right? And that's the truth of it. So then you go, oh, shit. And that can stop you from going, oh, because things are going, sometimes you get staffing issues. And that can throw you off course, because you've got this vision, this is all going this way, and then all of a sudden something happens, maybe potentially in their world, and you've got to respond, hopefully, versus react, but you go into that and you have to do things that weren't necessary. So you then get slightly distracted, and then you're like, oh no. And then if you let that step in, it becomes chaotic, because it's chaotic in your head. So if there's chaos in here, very often once again, it gets reflected externally, and then you go, oh, right, that's broke me. If someone makes a comment about something and somebody says something, if you have put your heart, soul, and your passion into something, and then someone says something bad about it, if you let that affect you, that then can go into your next session, for example, or your next client, or anything, right? Because so it's very hard to compartmentalize that when you're so emotionally involved, when you truly are passionate and you really care about it. But you do have to look at yourself and go, right, okay, well, why has that happened? What could I have done differently? And remember, sometimes it is them, right? And you've got to go, right, okay, do you know what? If in my heart of hearts, I can say, listen, I've done everything that I truly believe I could have done in this situation to have provided the very best I could do, or whatever it is, and they've said something, well, it's like turning around and going, well, you know, your blue jumper is awful, right? And you go, well,
Baby blue.
and you go, I know it's not. I know this is from
Yeah.
Milan. This is top notch. So it's irrelevant what you say, right? And I go, you know, if somebody says something that truly has no meaning to it,
Yeah.
then it's off. But people do let things affect them, right? And people do get, and this is where it's hard, I guess, maybe with the whole world of social media. We know, especially when we're putting ourselves out there more as a brand, as a company, we're all told to build a personal brand. We're having to do it, and more gym owners are putting themselves out there and doing it. And if someone absolutely smashes you on a public comment, well, some people have got the hardened skin and go, right, we'll brush off. Some people let that affect them, and then they'll stop sharing their passion, stop sharing the impact that they can make, and hide away. So how can that affect it? Well, it can affect the whole business.
Moving away from the mindset stuff now, I wanted to move into the gym ownership side of stuff, and maybe the less kind of mindset stuff and the more actual, just like objective, what did you do? So obviously, small group personal training facility. When you were setting that up, what were the kind of most important metrics that you were tracking when you were starting that business?
So yeah, if I'm really honest, when we started, we weren't a small group personal training facility. We were an industrial unit where we had me and Rob were personal trainers. So we did that, and we started running some sessions because it brought in different revenue. If I was to sit here and tell you that we were tracking metrics and shit then, not a chance. We had a whiteboard, I promise you this, and a tin. And you would literally come and pay in cash when people used to do that. That's how old this gym is. People would come and pay cash, put their name on the whiteboard just for the next sessions they were coming in and do that. So did we have business down to a T then? No. And I think a lot of gym owners start off as personal trainers, a lot of tradespeople, you know, whatever it is, you're good at your trade, you're good at your craft, and then you go, right, now I'm doing this and now I want to make a business out of it. So for the first few years, if I was to tell you what we were tracking, I'd be lying to you. I'd maybe look at what we earned that week. I'd look at the numbers. I'd look at how we can get more people in. Then I'd go, right, well, at what point do we go, we put on another class? Oh, but then I only get 2 people. And then have we really earned any money? Well, truthfully, back then, I'd have worked 50, 60 hours anyway. So I wasn't actually then putting monetary value on my time. My time was free, right? So those times we weren't doing it. So let's probably fast track into group sessions, condition sessions. We go, right, okay, now we've got a business, we think. You know, we've got stuff like going, right, we've got to track how many people are sort of coming in. We've got the churn rate of clients, you know, lifetime value. You know, we would look at how long people would come, what was the often then. Then we started obviously getting into marketing however many years ago, and it was obviously a lot cheaper then. You go, right, cost per lead acquisition, what we were obviously charging. Then we're looking at going, right, well, what does that look like? We'd go, right, per session, you know, or per hour of the day, what should this gym be making? And the reality was, the way we'd set up our business, in the middle of the day, it wasn't making a great deal. You can talk about personal training, one-to-one stuff, and you go, right, that hour's producing X amount, that produces X amount. How much is each person worth, you know, in terms of that? But we really, and I'm not just saying it, we really looked at, in terms of what we were tracking, is actually the client retention, the feedback that we would get from them, because we would ask for feedback. We were almost tracking more so their journey, their happiness. That was almost our leading metric, because if we knew that they were happy and we were retaining people for 13 years, there was something we were doing very well. But then we'd also, when we'd get the feedback regularly, we were able to then iterate, manipulate, and change, and sort of somewhat diversify or listen to it and go, right, what do we need to be upskilling? And then we go, right, how can we then step back? One of the biggest challenges, or there was a few challenges from a financial point, is when you get to a point of going, right, we're earning, say, I don't know, 5, 10K, whatever it be, a month, for example. Then you go, all right, well, we're going to hit the VAT threshold, right? Now, what does that do for us as a business? And truth is, you've got to blast through it. Like, otherwise, not many gyms go, right, oh, we're putting our price up by 20% now because we've hit the VAT threshold. And that's a big hit to a gym, right? Because you don't claim back. What you claim back, there's the very little you claim back of VAT. Someone's probably listening to this going, idiot, could have claimed this back. But we didn't know, right? And what we did was go, right, we've got basically 20% is just coming off the top end. And obviously there was things that, you know, your corporation tax, there's a lot of, and they start to get bigger, and you're like, we're putting on more and more hours here. We're working harder and harder. yet it didn't feel like the finances were going up because we were back then an expensive gym, but we weren't super high end. So where we'd be sitting at back then, say the £99 a month range, if we'd added on £20, like people are like, you guys were already expensive. Like we were paying a lot to that. Now we really did deliver a lot. And I feel we do deliver a lot. If you look at the world now and everything that's gone up in terms of your business rates, your external costs, your fixed costs, they've got the staffing now because we've stepped back, so we don't deliver the sessions. Staff deliver the sessions. Well, you've got to go, right, well, now we've got to make sure that there's enough of an income to pay our wage. That's included of the numbers. And then we've got to cover them. And you've got to make sure that you are getting the right percentages right on that. Now, that can be quite hard because you don't just go, right, well, we need to earn an extra 20% now in terms of margin, so we can just put that onto the clients. As you can imagine, they're not just going, oh, hang about, my gym membership's gone up by 20% or 40% now because of the VAT as well as that. So you then start to go, right, what are the numbers we need to manage? We've got to go, right, what's coming in through the pipeline? How many leads are we generating? So this then comes a little bit around your marketing, around your ad spend, as you say. Then you go, right, well, how many are we converting? How many are we actually getting to turn up on the calls? When we get them onto the calls, what does that look like? So you're looking at how that goes. You're right, when we've got them on board, what are they doing? We had a 30-day onboarding process. What's the retention? What's the back end from that? How are we upselling? What's going through that journey? When do they drop off? And then, as you say, when do they drop off later on? So those metrics.
I think, to be honest, the main part of that is literally like, it's not necessarily what specific metrics you're tracking. It's like where the bottlenecks are of what is stopping you from increasing your, as you say, like your membership price, or from increasing your lifetime value of members through their retention. I think that's probably actually the most valid answer you could have given, actually. Congrats. Yeah, because I think there's no real right answer, as you know, someone might have the best retention, but their membership is like, 40 quid too cheap. So it really does. I won't say the saying, and it depends on what kind of person you are and what kind of situation you're in. So yeah, I think one thing on there is High Rocks. I noticed that you guys are High Rocks affiliated. It seemed like quite a big thing you pushed. I'm someone that's done a High Rocks myself. Shout out. So I understand the love of it and the hype around it. What was the reasoning behind the decision of you guys like putting that in your gym, deciding to go down the High Rocks route and the functional fitness route?
Yeah, so you could argue we've always trained people for High Rocks since we've opened, because we've always done every one of those movements. We've already had that facility.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't really do was run. Like it wasn't something we really put in our classes. And a lot of people loved us because we didn't put running in our classes. And then the reality is, we, like a lot of the gyms, it's quite fashion. It's becoming a bigger thing. And business is business. And you go, right, well, what's another opportunity? Well, we've got all the facility here to do it. We've got Rob, my business partner, and Zara, who's might as well be, she's literally, I call her left-hand lady. She's like the operator. She is incredible, phenomenal. And they are phenomenal at High Rocks. Like they go to Worlds they're doing all that sort of stuff. And it would go, well, actually, if there's an opportunity to support people, help people in something that is a highly fashionable, popular thing right now, and because you're a small business, you have that adaptability, right? So you just go, we're going to leave money on the table here, would somewhat be daft, and it might completely change. You've seen everyone in the world has got their recovery bits into it, and and then they've got the reformers, and then they've got, and there's loads of different things that are being added on, and that was something we could do very easily, very quickly, and monetize. And then we were also really passionate about it, leading by example. We'd gone through all different journeys of training, whatever, and a lot of our members, I'm like, right, you could do this, right? You just got to believe in yourself, and maybe you have to add a little bit of running in, which some of you are doing already.
Yeah.
So let's show you through it. And some of them absolutely loved it. Then other people were like, oh, cool. So I'm like, right, well, if we're going to do it, we're going to put on simulation. High Rocks is really hard to get into. They're very expensive, whatever. So we did some simulations. And our first one, touch wood, we knocked out the park. Like, we had the most incredible feedback. Truth is, we only run a couple of sessions of High Rocks, but the simulations we do, we make sure we do very, very well. So it's actually our simulations that are what we do in terms of High Rocks. In terms of the classes, truthfully, we don't do a huge amount of it. That might be different in our website. And once again, you might have just highlighted a problem in our marketing, which is good, but that's the whole point, right? Yeah. Say, what's the perception of other people? Oh, you're a High Rocks gym because you're a High Rocks affiliated. We're affiliated because we felt like that was a legitimate thing to do if we're going to start running High Rocks sessions versus doing, Rocks, Tough Rocks, or whatever it is, when people just sort of do it but don't want to pay it. That's fine. And maybe we shouldn't be paying it, is the truth.
The High Rocks thing also is like, as you say, you're already doing it all anyway, so it's not really like a crazy uptake. But like with High Rocks is kind of the buzzword, but actually like there's Athex, there's like Deca, there's all these other ones now that are out there. So even though it's High Rocks affiliated, actually you can kind of,
Well, this is
it's
what
very
we've actually discussed
universal.
within the business very recently. Truthfully, it's time more than anything, and with a small team. And we could 100% host those. But if we're going to host them, I want to host them really well. Like,
Yeah.
I want to do it. Like, it's kind of our ethos. If we're going to do it, let's not just tiptoe. And also, we're very much of, if we've done it, it's great. Like, if I've not done a Deca, if I've not done an Athex, I've not done a whatever, then just hosting it because of it. You know, we're actually very fortunate. In our last High Rocks event, we had 2 Athex winners come down, and Dan and his partner, Taryn, and they were great. And we had a conversation, and actually, funnily enough, we're going to go have a meeting with him next week about a few different things, which is really cool because, once again, he's asked for, he's an incredible athlete. He's got a following of people doing it. And he's like, but you've done this. So he was like, can we sit in conversation? And I'm like, I'll give that time up, right? And we'll come and have a conversation. And yeah, we could then potentially go, well, actually, I want to host an Athex event here. I'll get you to come down here. So I'll do you a favor about whatever is around business and whatever you want to discuss, which I shouldn't say too much, but then why don't you come down and host an Athex Games? Now, he might have a bit of pull with that. He might just be able to bring 20 of his own clients. We've got a facility that he can host it out of. And then he might be able to show and share with our people. And that's great, right? We don't have to be the masters of everything. I think we spoke about that before, right? But why not? Why not have someone really, really fucking good at it come and lead a really incredible Athex?
There's that old sales adage of like, sales is the transfer of enthusiasm. And actually what you're saying about, if you're not believing and buying into it, if you think like functional fitness is a load of bullshit, like why would you ever become a High Rocks affiliated gym? Because it's just not going to transfer onto the people that are doing it. Are the High Rocks sims, like, I don't actually know what you get with the affiliation and the package from High Rocks. Like, are the sims something you have to do as part of it, or is that just something you just decided to do as an adage?
We wanted to do it, and not being funny, we didn't want to be, whether it's right or wrong, I'm sure there's loads of people doing High Rock simulations who aren't affiliated or whatever. But we went down that route, and then Rob's also got his qualification as being a High Rocks coach. One of the same, he goes to the Worlds. He's phenomenal at it. He will do online products around High Rocks and stuff as well. So that makes sense. But in terms of the simulation, no, we were like, right, listen, we're trained like this way. We've got the facility to do it. No one else was really doing it, I don't believe, not to put anyone else down locally. And the people that come to us, people that travel to us from Luton, from whatever, from us, that's a good hour or so drive. And they've done other simulations. They were like, yeah, but it just was like one person there and no one was counting reps, no one was doing this, it didn't feel good. And we were like, well, we're going to do it to a standard that when you get to there, we can share not only the knowledge, the support around it, but actually get you to go so you know that what you are doing is legit. And when you get there, you're not going to go, oh, well, I've been practicing like this the whole time because no one's ever called me out on it. And we have lots of coaches there who are enthusiastic and like all the people, that's why the buzz is there. You've got an incredible environment of support and achieving things. You've got some people who do it in 54 minutes. I mean, it's madness. And then we've got other people who are doing it like nearly 2 hours. But when they complete it, they've got a crowd of people clapping them, and you're there and you're like, come on, let's do this rep, let's go. That's once again, it's just another really incredible thing that we have the ability to, that I'm grateful to host and be a part of.
It's kind of proof that, like, because you guys care about it, there's that ability to like think beyond it and think actually like, what do these guys need, because you understand it and you've actually thought about it. Like, it transfers into it massively. I guess that leads very nicely onto like community as well. Things like that naturally do just breed a very nice community within the club, and as you say, like the supportive nature of it. How else did you kind of foster community kind of all before this, when you were first getting started?
Get to know everyone that comes through that door. Get to know them and genuinely care about them. Like, absolutely, wholeheartedly care about the people that walk through the door. They're not a number. They're not another membership. They're not another sale. They are people who are coming to you and putting their trust in you to solve a problem somewhat, to create a safe space, to be their safe place. People talk about it. They say those words about our gym, and that's down to us, as you say, creating an environment, a community, making them feel that within us, building trust within us. And then it's down to us now as gym owners to make sure that our coaches, trainers, staff, whoever it is, that they do exactly that. And that is as important as the technical way of doing a dumbbell row, right? More so. 100% more so to me. Because if you walk through that door and you genuinely feel like you are welcomed by someone who genuinely cares, wants to smile, makes you feel safe, push you in a place and safe, they know that they can ask you a question without feeling intimidated, reduce some of the anxiety. It's still going to be there, right? But reduce that feeling. And embed that, and then at the end of the session, take the time to talk about them. If somebody's got something going on in their personal life and you know about it, somebody's dog's, not very well, or their daughter or something, and you've got to understand that, and then they've got to bring their kids, and you create that community by doing external things that are nothing to do with fitness. You go for a walk, you take the time to do calls and things outside, and bring in other people that can help them with whatever and guide them, and just genuinely care about people. Because the truth is that then comes in and go, oh, wow, this is a really play. And then the other people within it, and have that culture, and not be funny, like anything. If you've got somebody who's a bad apple, like, feel free to talk to them and confront. And that's hard, by the way. That's awkward. And we've had it. And I'll be like, listen, I'm going to be really honest with you, Julie. You've come in here and you've started talking about this and that, but you've never actually approached us about your struggle and your challenge. Now, I'd love to be able to help you with that. Or if you felt like you didn't get the information, or you didn't get your I was told to get loads of nutrition support, or didn't get any emails, it might have got lost in the pipe. We're not perfect. Like, these things happen. But coming in here and then, like, trying to do that within it, that's not what we're about here. We're here to build each other up. We're here to support each other. We're here to create that space that you feel supported, you feel safe, you feel comfortable, and you feel like you're getting a very fucking good service. And then, funny enough, and adapting and listening, as I say, as you go through it. Like, people have been for 13 years. There's a reason, because we constantly develop ourselves and grow as coaches. We don't settle. We go, well, our product's good enough. If you don't like it, we'll have somebody else in. It's no, what can we do to better ourselves? How do we iterate? How do we provide the very best service? How do we maybe manipulate and change things with the time so we are a little bit, but still keep our core values?
I mean, people like Julie are kind of the people that you like. What she was saying seemed like valid feedback. I mean, I know this isn't a real situation, but it is like, that's the valid feedback. I was kind of assuming when you said bad apples, it was like people that are just being assholes to everyone in the gym. And
and do you know what? If I'm honest with you, we don't tend to get too many of those. Very few of those, if I'm honest. Really, it's very, very few, which you could say is luck, or you can talk about who you're attracting with your message, how we actually do vet people before they come on. Like, if someone comes on the call and they're rude to Zara, does our onboarding calls, right? If someone's rude to Zara, I'm like, Zara, you don't have to, these people don't have to come in. Like, in fact, I actually rather you said, unfortunately, and that's, once again, it's tough. It is a bit of a filtration thing, but again, right, and if she does get a really hard call, I'm going to have a call with them before they come in.
Yeah, fair.
So then I'll jump on and I'll be like, right, okay, what's the deal? And sometimes, this is the madness, sometimes people have been reluctant because it was a female on the phone. So I'm like, right, listen, I'm going to be really honest with you. The gym you're coming into, there is a 78% female, and I'm going to be really real with you. And this might be very uncomfortable. I'm not saying for everyone to do this, by the way, because no one wants to. But I want you to make sure this is the right place for you. Do you think you'll feel comfortable training in an environment where there's, I'm like, I'm going to be really honest with you, I don't believe we're the right fit.
Yeah.
But I tell you where it's awesome, this, and they do that and that and that, and I think that's going to be an incredible fit. Maybe you want to try them first, and if you do feel like you want to come back, but now you know that if you come in and you give me any of that it's not going to stick.
It's about protecting your culture as well, because, like, you've got to protect the thing that you've built from people that are going to come from outside and try and ruin that. I mean, I was going to make a joke about if you don't know who the annoying friend in your friend group is, it's probably you, but I won't say that.
Oh no, I'm definitely the annoying friend.
Yeah.
100% clear on that.
I think, yeah. So, like, to be honest, like, been a seriously good episode. So much to take away from it. I think just kind of wrapping it all up.
Yep.
What's next for you? What's the next, like, big goal you're aiming towards?
So my little personal goal right now is to make as much of an impact with people's, I'd say mindset is probably just feels fluffy, but I want people to be able to change as many people's lives, break the limiting beliefs, believe in themselves, and create the life they truly desire and deserve, not just through the means of physical and nutrition. That's one modality of part of it, but their limitations, their mindset. And I want to do that with as many people as I've done with the physical over the last 10, 12, 13, 15 years, which I believe 20 years, if you look at all the coaching and the football, the impact, I want to make that sort of impact now going forward for the next 10, 20 years in the modality that I believe I can. And as I'm getting older, without me funny, last year I had a spine up, but like, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to physically jump at the front and I've got family, and I want to be able to maybe do that in a way that I can reach more people and really give them the ability to then go on and affect more people in their world, right? Because it has that knock-on effect.
I think, like, it comes back to that whole thing of, like, being righteous, but, like, as you say, like, that's the best way of doing it. And I think, people live, it's like, scientifically, you live longer if you're happier and less stressed. And I think that starts with the mindset.
Yeah, and once again, for me, the truth is finding out how I can create more space. So it's starting with guys, it will be with women, it will be with everybody. Safe space for them to potentially take the step back, to offload, to understand, to get a clearer path on what they really, really want. Stop maybe settling, stop being in that comfort, sometimes pushing people a little bit where they need to be and supporting people in every which way possible. And like this for me, the gym's like, if you were to turn around truthfully and go, we want to set up something where we can help as many coaches as possible, and they have a place where they can ask somebody who's been through the processes of doing that. I'm like, yep, that's a part of my vision. That's part of it, because I'm making an impact again. Whether it's a gym owner, whether it's the plumber, whether it's just the everyday person trying to be healthier, happier, and better father potentially.
The gas station attendant.
That's it. Absolutely, yeah. That's it.
I think so, and I think it like probably more give me some personal advice, but like, is it kind of naive in a way to maybe have that mindset of like, we can do this, we can make everyone in the world, like not everyone in the world, but everyone in like within our reach positive and
You
happy?
can look at it as naivety, couldn't you? And you can look at it as delusional. But there's a slight element of that delusion that allows you to go and step into potentially doing something, right? And I've got a belief and a faith that I can do it. Once again, I could go really old school now and go, let's talk about, Edward Hillary that climbed fucking Everest, the first person to do it, failed 2 or 3 times. Everyone thought he was a madman, right? Everyone else failed or died. He kept going because he felt it was, so you could have said he was delusional, could have whatever, but then it's done, right? And when it's done, it's not so mad, right? And yeah, there is, but if I'm once again having that as my North Star, shoot for the star, moon, stars, all that shit, whatever, you can do whatever you want. You can call, it can be delusional, it can be whatever. But if you have a belief and you have the energy and you have the willingness, you probably can achieve a fucking great deal more than you believe you can do. So if you're setting out and going, right, I want to go and achieve this. Oh yeah, but is it naive?
I think
to say?
You don't know until you know, really. And I think actually it's only delusional. I mean, it's better to be delusional on something that's actually beneficial.
I always used to think this is quite a funny thing. Randoms help, by the way. It doesn't even probably fit the script. But my old man was like, listen, if you go into a situation with a predetermined thing that man's going to fucking, he's mean at him, he's won every fight, he's bare knuckle Joe, he just wins everything. All right. But he looks fine, right? I'm going to shit my pants going into the ring against that guy. If I have no fucking idea and I just see him, I go, well, I've got half a chance here. I've got the belief. Yeah, it might be naive, but I promise you I'm going to show up a lot better version with more confidence and more. I've got a better fucking chance. Right? And I know that's so random. It probably doesn't fit.
No,
what I'm saying is, if you start looking and evaluating and going, oh, you can't because of this, oh, you're naive, whatever. If I go in it and I believe it and I back myself, yeah, I might get knocked out by bare knuckle Joey. But I had much more of a chance going in there thinking that I can do it. And if I've got that energy and that belief, trust me, I'm ready. Like, I'm going to go and we're going to go and do this. And if you said this is about you, whatever you have in the back of your mind, know that it can be happen. Because people, without being rude, and this isn't to put you down, have achieved fucking far. Those lights, right? Incandescent light was never fucking achieved until it was achieved, right? It was a picture, it was an idea in somebody's mind at first. It was a naive belief, potentially, if you spoke to everybody else in the world. Wright brothers with an aeroplane, it's all fucking madness to everybody else, but then they did it. Now it's a fact.
Yeah.
Create the fact, but you have to have the fantasy, if you want to call it, the thought, the vision, the idea, and then you'll attract everything that you need and it will happen. And yeah, it could be naive, but if you fucking believe it, you can make it happen.
No, I think that's completely fair. I mean, yeah, reach for the stars, and if you fall, land on the cloud.
That's something like that. Yeah.
There you go. We can do that. We can do them all day. Okay, so finally, just a little bit of a final thing. Great segue. What would be the final bit of advice that you want to give to a gym owner who might be where they are that you think will benefit them?
Once again, listen, make sure that you're very clear on your core values, that feels aligned, that feels authentic with you. Get very clear on where you want to be. Look at your future. Look at the goals. Look at what you want for your life, right? Because you can very easily create a job for yourself versus a business. Understand that very often you will be the bottleneck, that there are other people that can do things better than you out there. Be willing to share that. You might have to sacrifice a little bit of money. You might have to drop a little bit of ego, but it then maybe potentially much a greater impact and actually create what you really, really want by stepping back and getting out of your own way. Ask questions, no matter where you are in the industry, how far you've been at. Don't ever let your ego get in the way of that. And really focus, once again, still on if you can deliver the very best quality and support to your clients, that's going to carry you. That word of mouth, whether it be organic, that is going to be the best thing. Be willing to look at yourself, take ownership, and just believe in yourself.
it's very uplifting. I think the whole
Yeah.
topic is so, like, genuinely, thank you so much for joining us today. Really, like, insightful episode.
And as I said at the beginning, that's my goal, right? My goal isn't
Yeah,
just to
yeah.
be some motivational, but if we can inspire others, leave people with that impression of increase in any situation, hopefully when I walk out that door today, be like, fuck me, that bloke can talk. But I have taken something, or something feels good about today.
It's actionable stuff as well. Like, it's not just like wishy-washy kind of theory. It's actionable stuff that is like been proven in concept, and I think that's fantastic. So yeah, no, Josh, thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to me for like nearly 2.5 hours.
Yeah, perfect. That is all for this episode of the Gym Owners Forum podcast. As always, thank you so much for listening. And thank you again to Josh for sharing his experiences with us, but making it quite easy to digest, quite relatable, and really just giving us some actionable stuff that we can take home and start working on right away, no matter what business you're in. If you like that episode and you want more stuff like it, head to anywhere where you can get your podcasts or YouTube and search for the Gym Owners Forum. If you want some more quick fire and actionable tips and tools delivered to you on a regular basis, head to our socials where we're posting stuff regularly. And if you just want a conversation, want to reach out and get in touch with us and ask a question, head to our DMs, head to our email, head to our website and get in touch. We're always more than happy to have a chat. With all that said, we'll see you on the next episode.